Hi, good evening, superhumans. So, the topic for today's talk is going from anxiety to awakening. Why is it that we try to get difficult people to love us? Why is it that we're struggling so much in our relationships? Why is it that we tend to repeat the same patterns in our relationships over and over again, and we don't even see where it's coming from? The truth, the fact of the matter is that our subconscious mind controls our reality. There is no reality. A patient, a person who has schizophrenia, to them, their reality is as real as your reality is for you. So there is only perceived reality, there is no objective reality. All right. So we're going to be in the next 10 minutes covering how to overcome anxiety and all the stress that our mind and body creates for us, going through three levels: the body, the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind, and even exploring the unconscious, which we don't know much about. Some people say the unconscious is the soul, some people call it the psyche. Now, I delve in the realms of psychology and spirituality, and what I've come to understand that the unconscious is actually unlimited. It's extremely infinitely powerful. It's way beyond our understanding, and it does things in the most mysterious ways possible. But whenever required, it would bring the right people to us, the right opportunities to us. It could even make miracles happen, and we wouldn't know how it happened. All right. So, talking about the body, talking about the body first, what is anxiety? Anxiety is a physiological response of the body where we experience shortness of breath, our heartbeat rises, and we feel palpitations. Maybe we start sweating, our thoughts are racing, and we don't know what to do in the moment. Anybody who says they don't experience anxiety is a liar, because statistics show that everybody goes through anxiety. It's just a matter of time. It's just, and not that is not really a disorder. Everybody who experiences anxiety does not mean that they have a disorder. All right. So it is important to be less judgmental and to break free of the stigma. Also, statistics show that everybody goes through depression at least once in their lifetimes, most likely thrice in the lifetime, or it could be even more, but at least once. So, first of all, let's stop calling people who are undergoing these conditions abnormal. As a society, it's extremely important to be more empathetic, to try and be in the other person's shoes and understand that we also experience the same phenomena, the same sensations in our body at one time or another. All right. When it comes to the body, let's understand what really happens. So when we were early men, we were living in caves, and we were hunter and gatherers. We had to go into the forest to do hunting. So whenever, suppose we're going hunting and we see an animal right in front of us, maybe a saber-toothed tiger, okay, maybe a gorilla, maybe a leopard, what happens? Our body goes into the fight or flight response, which means that usually the blood which is resting in this area, our gut, it goes to our limbs, our hands and our legs. Why? Because legs require blood to run, right? If you don't have blood in your legs, you cannot run, you'd fall, and the animal would eat you up, right? But the thing is that, and of course, you need blood in your hands to hold a weapon and to attack the animal, to save your life. So everything was about survival in the early days. So what has happened over decades and centuries is that our body is still living in that unconscious reality. Our body has not really changed much. So what happens now that whenever we find a threatening stimuli in our environment, our body doesn't know, our mind doesn't understand that there is no animal in the room, there is no spider. By the way, that explains the fear of spiders and lizards even till now. I mean, so much research has shown that more than humans are scared of guns, they're actually more scared of spiders and lizards till date. Okay, because they're reptiles. Because in the early days, they could cause us more harm than actual guns. So what happens is our body still goes into fight or flight, which is why our sympathetic nervous system is activated. And when our sympathetic nervous system is activated, we don't know what to do because there is not enough blood which is carrying the oxygen in our brain. And our brain, which is basically the prefrontal cerebral cortex, which is responsible for rational thinking and problem solving, it is not being able to function optimally because there's an amygdala hijack. Amygdala, which is at the back of your brain, connecting the brain to the spinal cord, which forms the limbic system, that has completely overtaken your brain. So you're just thinking about survival now, which is why people tend to think of the worst case scenario that can happen, which is why people indulge in overthinking, which is why, we tend to think of the future outcomes which have not even happened. So that is what anxiety is. Now, how to overcome it? I'll tell you a few keys to overcome it right in the moment. All right. And then we come to the mental aspect of it. But the good news is that even if you tackle your body, you can overcome anxiety in the moment itself. So one amazing scientific method, and which works instantly, and the easiest thing to do, no matter what kind of a scary situation you're in, you always are breathing, at least, right? So the first thing that changes when you're anxious is you stop breathing, or you just take very short, shallow breaths. You're not completely increasing your diaphragm. So the thing is that you have to breathe in more, breathe in for 5 seconds, hold your breath for 3 seconds in your stomach, and exhale for 8 seconds. So this is called the 5-3-8 breathing technique, where you breathe in for 5, hold your breath for 3, and exhale for 8. All right. And beyond that, there is this technique of lateral eye movements, where you try and look to as much left corner, as much left as you can, just keeping your neck straight, look towards the left as much as you can see. After that, for after 3 seconds, look towards the right as far as you can see. Bring it back. And this basically what it does is it dilates the nerves which are going from your eyes to your brain. It completely relaxes those nerves, and it helps cure insomnia as well. Other than that, what you can do in the moment is look at what you're thinking, your thoughts in the moment, because thoughts are not reality. Thoughts are not facts. As I talked about perceived reality earlier, thoughts are something, they are mental phenomena, just mental occurrences happening. The you who's actually experiencing the thoughts, your identity, is something different from the thoughts. But what happens is that often we go into a loop of our thoughts without recognizing the underlying core beliefs under them. Because we only have a few limited, like 4 to 5 core beliefs, all right, which are actually sprouting into so many thoughts throughout our lifetimes, all right, and every day. And these thoughts become automated and they dictate our lives. Where are these beliefs coming from? They're coming from our subconscious mind, which has been programmed in our early childhood. So we're not really even aware of our conscious reality, why we do the things we do, why we choose the careers we choose, why we choose the partners we choose, why do we keep repeating the same relationship patterns, and so forth. A study held by the University of Pennsylvania by Martin Seligman and his colleagues demonstrates that people who are more optimistic, they think in different ways than people who are more pessimistic. So people who are more pessimistic, they're also more prone to depression. That's an interesting finding, don't you think? All right. So the thing is, there are 3 P's of pessimism. Now, in 3 P's, the first is people people who are pessimists, they're undergoing any situation, they'll personalize it. They would find themselves at fault. They would think they were not good enough. All right. So that is personalization. Whereas the optimists, they believe that they didn't have so much role to play. It was mostly circumstances. Number 2, people who are pessimists, they think this situation which is happening right now, it's permanent. There's nothing much that can be done about it, and it'll always be the same. They get gloomy, they brood over it. But people who are optimists, they understand that this is very temporary. All right, it's completely temporary, it's not going to last forever, it's just a matter of time, and this too shall pass. The people who are pessimists, according to this research, they they look at everything that could go wrong, and they start they start paying attention to everything in every other area of their life which is also going wrong. And this is a phenomenon of selective attention. But people who are optimists, they look at things as very specific. They understand that this, whatever is happening, is limited to this particular person in my life, this particular area of my life, and everything else seems to be going well. All right. And even if it is not going well, it will, because again, it's temporary, it's not permanent. And people who think, and also because they don't personalize things, so they think that, okay, even if I was somewhere responsible for this thing happening, I can always change myself. I can level up, I can improve myself. And this trait in me doesn't have to be permanent. So these are the 3 P's of pessimism which will help you if you hack your thoughts, they'll help you overcome depression and avoid depression at any point in your life. Any situation that comes in your life, just see if you are engaging in any of these 3 P's. Other than that, there are 3 core beliefs which are like an epidemic, all right, which are worse than COVID, which all of us carry to a certain extent. And one of the greatest adventures in life is overcoming those beliefs. So there are only 3 main core beliefs which are unfortunately negative. One is, I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, I'm helpless to change the situation because I'm a failure. Whatever, no matter what I do, it'll turn out to be bad. Number 2 is, I'm not lovable, or I'm not lovable enough. All right. So nobody loves me. Maybe my mother didn't love me. Maybe my mother preferred my sibling over me. That's why, and like my partner keeps leaving me. Why do my relationships keep failing? So, I'm not lovable enough. I'll die alone. Thoughts like that. Very quickly, they pass through our heads without even us realizing that this is happening. Point number 3, I am helpless. No matter what I do, it is not going to happen. All right. I'm just not good enough. That's what the third thing is, that I'm just not good enough. Good things don't happen to me. It will not come to me. That's the third core belief. All right. So this is at the mental level. Now, talking about the power of the unconscious mind, I would encourage you to just ask any answer, any solution you're seeking to your mind before you go to sleep. You'll see that you'll get the answers in your dream. You might need to get dream analysis done for the same. But the thing is, all the wisdom that exists within you. Whoever said that was right. The truth is that there is a phenomena called the collective unconscious, which was given by Carl Jung. And our minds are infinitely more intelligent and more powerful, and they draw from the ancestral memories and instincts of all our ancestors who lived and walked the earth before us. We are not only relying on our education and whatever we've learned in this lifetime, but there is a whole collective wisdom which exists on the planet. And therefore, it is represented to us through our dreams. Anything that you even want to manifest, which is such a trendy term these days, it can happen once you plant the seed before going to sleep, put it in your mind, and you'll see it unfold in your life. Because every morning when you wake up, your mind is still replaying what was going on the last day. All right. It's like throughout the time that you're sleeping, everything that you think of is marinating in your brain. And then your subconscious mind presents the same reality to you when you wake up the next morning. And it keeps continuing. It's like a hamster, you're running on the wheel, and you just keep going on living the same reality. That's all for today. It's just about exploring and pushing your limits and becoming the superhuman that you were meant to be. So unleash yourself now and become the superhuman that you were meant to be. Thank you.